The Maharashtra government is considering tweaking Mumbai's inclusive housing policy, where 20% of any plot would have to be used for affordable homes. Critics of the new plan say the changes benefit builders more than the city, while the builder lobby says these changes are not enough and are calling for the whole policy to be revamped. Nikhil Narayan Sivadas joins us with that story.
The Maharashtra government's inclusive housing policy, which mandates setting aside 20% of a plot for EWS and LIG groups, has been hanging fire for over a year, with the builder lobby pushing for changes. Now, sources tell NDTV that the new government is considering putting it into force, but with changes. For starters, the government is proposing that the mandatory 20% be reserved anywhere within the same administrative ward, a move that experts say defeats the purpose of inclusive housing.
For example, the M ward. M ward has, property prices ranging from 7,000 rupees in Mankhurd to all the way 35,000 rupees in Chembur proper near. If I have property in Chembur, I will develop 35,000 and give equivalent, whatever 20% in Mankhurd somewhere. Whom does it really benefit? It benefits the developer.
The government has proposed that the new policy will not apply to redevelopment projects, slum rehabilitation buildings and projects on defunct industry land. Sources tell NDTV that a notice with the new amendments will be released shortly. But this is not the first time the builder lobby appears to have pushed through its agenda. Initially, the inclusive housing policy was to apply to all projects of 2,000 square meters in size and higher, but that was changed to plots of 4,000 square meters and higher. Experts say the policy in its current form is very limited and may not make much of a difference to the city.
We will just get entangled in this, 2,000, 4,000, 6,000 square meters in this kind of, which is not even a regulation at the moment. There is a tremendous pressure by the developer lobby to kind of, change and amend it the way it wants. The problem is the government has kind of listened to these developer groups and, changed these policies also.
Experts are divided on the issue, with some arguing that it's impractical to expect developers to implement this in one plot.
Even if there was only one building to be made, it posed certain issues in terms of compatibility, in terms of design layouts, etc.
In the same vicinity, amenities users are the same. The class difference is definitely there, the same amenity cost, the property taxes. Will that affordable will pay the similar kind of cost of amenities and the taxes in the same vicinity? This is not possible.
While critics say the inclusive housing policy already favors builders too much, the builder lobby is calling for the whole policy to be revamped.
Imposing any such rule is kind of restricting rights of a development, which is a fundamental right of a landowner, where how he wants to develop should be left to himself. Because by imposing something, there will be always a conflict. Rather than that, we feel that there should be more incentive-based creating of affordable housing stock.
The new government has already demonstrated its pro-business approach, but in a city like Mumbai with its high prices and high densities, experts say the government should perhaps be more pro-poor than pro-business. From Mumbai, Nikhil Narayan Sivadas, NDTV.
The inclusive housing policy is stuck with governments proposing one change after another. So will the end product be effective at all is a question. Chandrasekhar Prabhu joining us, urban development expert, and also Shailesh Puranik, MD Puranik Builders. Shailesh, the developer lobby is always the villain of any story, isn't it? And here too, it's no different.
I agree. In fact, I was to say the same thing today, that why it is only the builders who are blamed all the time. And is it being said, I just was going through what are the earlier reports are, that it is now favoring builders, and builders have their own say in the government. If builders would have been having their own say in the government, we would have done so many policy changes, and you would not have found so many stuck projects, and you would not have found so many projects which are waiting for approvals, and still they are not getting sanctioned. Some projects stuck midway for approvals. So I don't think builders are having a say in this. Whatever norms that are changing for better, and I really don't agree that if you can be either pro-business or pro-poor. Why can't you be both? Because ultimately, if you are pro-business and if the economy is going up, the trickle-down effect reflects in everyone. Okay, so it can be pro-poor also.
Okay, hold your thought. Let's come back to the policy which is in question here. Mr. Prabhu, affordable homes haven't been created. The stock is missing from Mumbai and builders are not enthused at all. Reserving 20% plots is the big thing which the government is looking at changing. What is the downside of doing that?
No, first of all, first let us understand what this policy is all about. This policy doesn't require the builder to give 20% of their land. If someone is telling you that, that's a complete lie. What the builder gets is, he gets the entire FSI of the plot, what he would have got otherwise, he gets it. Now the government says, we will give you 20% more FSI, build it on that plot and subdivide that plot and give it to MADA so that MADA can sell it as affordable housing. So in any ways, by giving this 20%, the builder in no way is losing in the process. That is number one. Okay. Number two is that, this whole argument about the poor and rich staying in the same plot not being viable is total rubbish, because the highest selling flat anywhere in Bombay is the famous Twin Towers, which is the tallest building where the flats are being sold anywhere between the rate of 85,000 rupees a square feet to 1,20,000 rupees a square feet. Within that premises are 4,000 houses meant for the poor. So if a slum dweller, a person living in the worst of the slum, can be staying within the same compound next to someone who's buying a house for 1,00,000 rupees a square feet, if that can happen, why can't the middle class come and stay with the rich? So all these arguments have absolutely no merit in any way whatsoever. That has been shown time and again.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Prabhu. So let Shailesh respond to that. Shailesh, what is your response to that? I myself have gone and seen and really looked at the Omkar project where they're creating a super luxury, but they've already developed housing as slum redevelopment project, and they are coexisting. So what is this, grouse that you cannot have amenities being shared, and you cannot have the rich and the not so rich living together?
No, I think partly I agree with Prabhu sir. Because I don't think it's a question where you cannot divide plots. You can divide plots, but I think the question would come because in Mumbai city there are a lot of smaller plots, and in smaller plots it's really going to be difficult to divide the plots. In smaller plots it's really going to be difficult if you have a middle class projects, as sir rightly said, in the same building, and the luxury flats rather in the same building, and if maintenance cost of that building is going to be higher, if you have 4 and 5 high-speed lifts operating in the same building, then it would be higher. But yes, if you have a bigger plot, as is happening in some of the SRA schemes where you have subdivision done, it is possible for you to subdivide the plots, and probably that is the reason government also has done from
Shailesh,
2000.
all right, so I get your point. You're saying small versus large plots, Mr. Prabhu. I agree with Shailesh there that sometimes the plot of a size or plot size is just not feasible to have both kinds of homes. In that case, it is important to tweak the policy, at least get the stock of affordable homes cleared, rather than just have the developers not even getting into the business saying, I can't create both kinds of homes on this small plot.
This concept is completely misplaced. Please understand that there are 19,800 dilapidated buildings, which are isolated buildings, of which 2,000 buildings have been redeveloped. The existing people who are living in those buildings belong to the middle class and the poorer class. What generally happens is the plot is divided into 2 wings. The existing people are accommodated in one of the wings, or if there are 2 wings are not possible, then the existing people are accommodated in ground plus 5 or ground plus 8, and then the buyers who buy it at market rate are accommodated in the floors above. The lift for the existing people go only up to the 8th floor, and they have a separate entrance lobby and they have a separate lift. And for those who buy the flats, the lift don't start between ground and 8, they start off at the 8th floor level. Such experiments have been done in Bombay, they have been successful, the flats have been sold, the poor are living with the rich. This has happened. So this is not something which we are trying out for the first time now. It has happened, and it has happened well, even in single plots of 1,000 meters, 2,000 meter as well. So this argument that if it is small, it can't be done. See, I can give 500 arguments. I am a professor in urban planning and architecture. I can give you 500 arguments for and against. So these arguments, if you just want to go in arguments, because these are the arguments I teach my students
All right,
to give.
Mr. Prabhu, then you give us the answer. You give us the answer on what the government should do. Current policy, what is it that should the government stick to the current policy on inclusive housing as it is and not make any changes?
I'm not happy with the current policy on inclusive housing, but there must be a policy for inclusive housing. Otherwise, you will have the poor knocking at your doors and taking over your flats. You see, we are amongst the fortunate class who earn more and have put ourselves on a pedestal because we earn more, and we always look at the poor. But I need my maid to come to my home to take care of the cleaning of my house, and I want to pay her low salaries. I want my driver to attend to me at 4 in the morning when I have to catch a flight at 5 in the morning, and I don't want to pay him the kind of salaries which make him afford.
Okay, we're getting into a larger socio-economic inequity here. I'm just going to stick to the housing, and I understand from the domestic household perspective as well that if I'm living in the center of the city, I can't have household coming or let's say traveling an hour and a half to reach my doorstep. So I get that point. Shailesh Puranik, where is the midway? I mean, the fact that affordable housing stock has to be created, the fact that Mumbai has to lose its tag of being the world's largest slum, what are the minimum changes that you would be enthused to step into affordable housing that you would need from the government? That's it. And we will have to close the debate on that.
No, I think I completely agree with what Prabhu sir is saying here. I think only thing that developers we want is it should be more incentivized based of approaching it, and we are absolutely not denying. I am completely of the opinion that we need inclusive housing policy. We need poor and rich to stay together because they work together. As he was rightly saying, if I need my driver to attend to me at 4 a.m. in the morning, he can't be staying in Karjat or he can't be staying in far away suburb and to come to me at early morning or early hours. So I completely agree with that. But what I think we need is an approach where everybody is on the same page, everybody's opinions are considered, and it is more of an incentivized based approach. Because, see, please understand what I am saying. No builder will want to create everything only into luxury space, because if everybody starts building in luxury space, there will not be so much of demand. So everybody will want to work in luxury space, in affordable housing space, in middle class housing space, and there are volumes in affordable as well as middle class housing. So I think we all are in for inclusive housing, but I think it should be more incentive based approach rather than something is hammered down upon you that you have to do this. I think then everybody will be liking this and will be cooperating with this a bit more.
I get that. I think market dynamics have to play. Mr. Prabhu and Shailesh Puranik, thank you very much for joining in. It's great to get both your perspective, and I totally agree to the summation that both of you have made, that yes, it's possible to have the rich and the poor or the not so fortunate coexist. The developers have to find a way out, but then it also needs to make some economic sense for developers to get into that business. Frankly, luxury apartments in Mumbai aren't selling. So for Shailesh and the rest of the developer community, affordable homes are something that they will have to look at seriously. And we can only keep our fingers crossed that this government, which is very progressive, has a clear goal. Housing for all by 2022 will get that right. Gentlemen, thank you very much again for joining us today.